into the local markets. Well, let's change gears now and go to that event I've told you about a few minutes ago. Of course, the fact is that this event brings together stakeholders around the financial markets from all over Africa, all over the world. That event currently going on at the Kempinski Hotel here in Nairobi. And my colleague Abegina is standing by with the latest from that event. Of course, Abby, the fact is that trade in various exchanges across Africa continues to really be sluggish, especially in view of the fact that a lot of them are considered quite illiquid compared to others globally.
Well, many thanks, Wakaba. Indeed, very valid question there, which I'll actually be picking the minds of some of the top leaders attending this particular forum here at Kempinski. But really, some of the key outcomes of today's event here at Kempinski has been around how can exchanges across Africa integrate and, of course, try and actually push more people to be able to list in various exchanges across Africa. And the Deputy President, while opening this particular this event, actually did talk about the need for inclusion in the country. And this comes at a time where we are seeing financial sector deepening, standing at about 40%. But enough about statistics. Let me quickly bring in the Chief Executive Officer of the Nigeria Securities Exchange, and that is Oscar Onyema, who is joining us live from Kempinski. Many thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Well, to dive straight into this conversation, the event kicked off today, and it comes under a cloud where we are seeing some sluggish activity in stock exchanges across Africa. Where is Africa headed towards boosting how people can better trade and sell and get good returns in the their investments?
As you know, Africa is a very diverse continent with a lot of different countries that are moving at different pace. And so, whereas we're just coming out of a commodity down circle that has affected many African nations, there are some African nations that are not necessarily commodities-based economies, in the sense that they don't export crude oil or,
sure,
or metals and the rest. All of those things tend to impact on your ability to grow businesses. And the capital markets tend to buzz, the IPO markets and the rest tend to buzz when the economy is doing well, and businesses need money to expand, or younger businesses or smaller businesses are coming to the market to raise capital. And so you cannot divorce the capital markets from the economies that they serve. And we're seeing that clearly shown in the IPO drought that we're witnessing on the continent.
All right.
The second reason, I would say, is the depth of the capital markets, not just from a liquidity perspective, but also from an understanding perspective. The stock market, the stock exchange, is not necessarily the natural destination that most young African companies are looking to end up.
All right.
Whereas in the US, if you start a business today, your dream is to one day list it on the stock exchange. And so we have to change that narrative. I think it's a cultural thing where most people are looking to own 100% of something small instead of owning 10% of something really, really big.
All right.
And so the engaging with people, building capacity is one of the reasons why the African Securities Exchanges Association is hosting the Building Africa Financial Markets seminar that we're experiencing today. Precisely that. We want to engage people. We want to really change the narrative and change the culture and make stock markets and capital markets indeed a natural destination for companies and other kinds of entities like governments that are looking to raise money.
All right. And in brief, perhaps, what are your expectations around this conference? Of course, it's coming to an end just tomorrow. What's the one thing you'd like to see happen in Africa Securities Exchanges?
The one thing I'd like to see happening in African securities exchanges is that we are a through agent of change, that people can see the linkage between African exchanges and economic development. That is one of the core reasons why ASEA was created.
All right. Many thanks, Oscar.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, of course, Wakaba will be having a more in-depth interview later on as we continue to discuss some of the intrigues that have defined the exchanges across Africa. But the clarion call really here in this particular conference is around how can governments support various exchanges by ensuring that various products can actually be put on the markets. For instance, in Kenya is currently pursuing a derivatives market. And of course, there is the mobile traded bonds, that is the Emakiba, things that continue to shape and sort of entice consumers. Of course, we've seen a low uptake, but the various speakers here, like for instance the Securities Exchange for Kenya, Geoffrey Odundo, did mention that it's more of a life cycle of a product, that this will be growing with time. But from our end, Wakaba, let me hand over back to you for more stories from the business world.
Well, indeed, thank you, Abi. Of course, the fact that that event there continues tomorrow as well, and we will also be featuring that, of course, some of that content in this week's edition of the Trading Bell Show, which should be coming up tomorrow afternoon on the second part of tomorrow's edition of the KTN,